Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 24th October 2020. The first article is Taking on the Center. This topic is very important for federalism. You know, Parliament has passed farm laws. Now, state legislatures in Punjab, Rajasthan are also trying for the same. How it sets for contest between center and the states in a constitutional setting, we have to analyze today. Remember, agriculture is a state subject. Parliament passage of laws on state subject is not possible other than few circumstances which are stated in the constitution. Now, how come Parliament was able to pass law on a subject in the state list? Here, Parliament has overstretched the meaning definition of entry 33B in the concurrent list. You know that on concurrent list, both Union Parliament and state legislature can make a law. If there is a conflict between these two, then Union law will prevail. Or if the state law is reserved for the consideration of the President of India, and if it becomes a law with his assent, that is assent of President of India, then state law will prevail. Here, there are two options before the states. One is challenging the constitutionality of the farm bills passed by the Parliament in Supreme Court, because 33B, it states that trade and commerce in and production, supply and distribution of foodstuffs, that is what is 33B. If you carefully observe the state list, agricultural marketing, everything, it is clearly stated as a subject in state list. So we can challenge this in Supreme Court. And second, the states can pass contesting bills which will go to the President of India. If President of India gives assent, then these state bills becomes valid. What is the contestation over here? On one side, center arguing that farmers are removed from the clutches of these APMCs, Agricultural Produce Marketing Committees. Let us analyze this. First, in Indian agricultural setup or structure, most of the farmers are small and marginal. In an open market, do these small and marginal farmers will have bargaining power vis-a-vis the large traders or private operators? That is the first question. Second is, states are going to lose revenue heavily, especially agriculture dependent states like Punjab, because states receive lot of money as form of APMC fees. So how these have to be settled, we have to see. Finally, this particular contest has become a trade-off between liberalizing farm sector on one side and protection of interests of the small and marginal farmers on the other side. This is what we need to keep in mind. The next article, hitting where it hurts. As US presidential elections are nearing, more and more sanctions, conditions are happening on immigration. In this context, B1 visas are used by Indian companies to send technical experts for on-site work. They will be staying for few days, they will complete that work and will come back. Now, this has been prohibited. Obviously, it is going to cost heavily to the Indian companies, because if they have to send any of the employee for on-site work, they have to apply for H1B visa. If not, they have to hire a local person in United States of America, which is going to cost them very heavily. So these things have to be stopped, which are going to hinder globalization and free movement of persons. That is what is stated in this article. The next article is the revenge of the lakes in Hyderabad. Recently we saw deluge in Hyderabad and it has seen unprecedented rainfall. We saw this before in Chennai. Now it is the turn of Hyderabad. It means the sudden outpouring is going to be a norm in the future. In this scenario, how the cities have to prepare for this is the first question. What are the recent happenings in the last few decades which have made these cities, metropolis, so vulnerable? When we talk about Hyderabad, it used to have lakhs of lakes which are interconnected with each other. Why? If one lake is filled, obviously water will be going on to the next lake. Because of this interconnectedness, it has provided for strong irrigation under these lakes. After urbanization started, especially after this IT boom post 2000, there is lot of encroachment of these lakes, and many constructions have come up on lake drain systems and also lake beds. The second most important thing is these lakes have become sewers. It means that the sewage system, as it is not proper and there is no adequate infrastructure in the city, the sewage is being drained into these lakes. Obviously, it has led to the growth of water hyacinth, which we call it as eutrophication. Slowly, the lake, the size started diminishing and the lake is getting further encroached. In this context, at least now, the cities of India has to wake up for the new reality and they have to gear up for the infrastructure which is necessary to face this kind of situations in the future. That is what we need to remember. The next article is Metrics of World Happiness and the Muslims of India. Let us not go into RSS chief's comments and the reaction of this article. I have certain beautiful points which talk about the status of India on various global matrices. The first one is happiness and well-being. It is measured through World Happiness Index. India stands at 144th position out of 153 countries. And India is also known for its malnutrition. So in our syllabus Poverty and Hunger, we have to quote World Hunger Index. India stands along with Sudan at 94th position out of 104 countries. Coming to civil liberties, World Press Freedom Index. So in this, India stands at 142 position out of 180 countries. And there is another project that is called World Justice Project. It gives Rule of Law Index. It means that it looks at constraints on government power, open government, fundamental rights, order and security, absence of corruption, regulatory enforcement, justice system, everything. So this Rule of Law Index, it places India at 69th position out of 128 countries. Either you see happiness or you see hunger or you see civil liberties, India is performing very poorly. Coming to religious freedom, US Commission on International Religious Freedom has warned India and also downgraded it in 2020. It clearly shows that India is losing heavily on civil liberties front, which is going to hurt its prospects on international fora. That is what we can remember. The next article, India's UN journey from outlier to the high table. If you have to observe India's role in the global affairs, we need to understand few points over here. It can be divided into three phases. Phase 1 is from period of independence to end of the Cold War, that is 1989. Here India was a moderating force. It means that India is trying to maintain equidistance from rival global powers. In this case, India also has made efforts to disentangle newly independent countries from this great power rivalry. On international fora in 1988, a remarkable thing has happened. That is, Rajiv Gandhi proposed for total disarmament. And next, in Asia and Africa, India is active in easing the armed conflicts. Let us go to the phase 2. This is the crisis phase for India. On one side, there is economic crisis, post 1990 situation, and India has to borrow heavily from IMF, pledge its gold, etc. Next is USA has become unipole in the global affairs, and USSR has disintegrated. In that scenario, India started shifting from idealism to pragmatism. You can see India voted in favor of sanctions against Iraq, and also it reversed its position on considering Zionism as racism, etc. That clearly showed that India is no more guided by idealism in international affairs. It is going to be more guided by its national interest and the realism or pragmatism. Stage 3, this is where India started gaining significance in international affairs at the high table. Today, India is a reliable and sustainable contributor to peacekeeping operations happening around the world. And second, it is a responsible stakeholder in spite of possessing the nuclear weapons or maintaining peace in the globe. And if you observe China, it is involved with various conspiracies or various conflict regions in supply of small arms. India never involved with those things. And then on climate change, on any matter, India behaved as a responsible stakeholder. India also increased its contributions to UN. Today they stand at 0.83% of UN budget. And India's popularity can also be seen in India winning various positions at UN agencies, either it is UN Women or UN Security Council non-permanent membership, anything, India started gaining positions. And finally, India failed on two fronts in spite of striving for that. One is UN Security Council expansion. Second, with regard to the passage of Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. These are the points to be remembered. The next is Pakistan to stay on FATF grey list till 2021. Here FATF stands for Financial Action Task Force. Pakistan is on grey list now. It is expected to continue because it did not take action against charitable organizations that are connected with terror groups. And these terror groups were banned by UN Security Council, and also on people who are in the terror list like Afiz Saeed, Zakirur Rahman Lakwi, Masood Azhar, etc. And terror financing is also not cracked down by this country. That's why it is expected to continue in grey list. The final article for the day is Oli move on Nepal map hints at softer stand. Prime Minister Oli, KP Sharma Oli, has stirred up controversy by releasing a new map of Nepal which shows Kalapani, Lipulekh, Limpiadura as part of Nepal. Now, on this Vijay Dasami, while congratulating and sending greetings, he has given or positioned Nepal with the world map. Obviously, it raised controversy because Parliament of Nepal has approved the new map that showed these regions of India as part of Nepal. These are the topics for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I wish you all a happy Vijay Dasami. Thank you very much.